Okay, so say you wanna like increase your maximum squat, for example, or a bench press. Let's take a squat. But it's not increasing. Like months and months go by, you can't increase it, doesn't go up, you don't know what's wrong. So here's the questions that you can ask yourself. This can pertain to any lift. Take squat, for example. Are you actually squatting? Like, are you actually doing the exercise to get better at it? Because if the answer is that you're only doing like lunges, step ups, like glute bridges and like donkey kicks and like clamshells and seashells, like to strengthen the adductors, abductors, you're doing like Romanian deadlift, you're doing all of these, but you're not actually doing the squat itself, you're probably not being specific enough and you're not going to increase your squat unless you're a total beginner. So that's point one. On to point number two. Okay, point number two. How often is it that you're actually practicing your squat variation? For example, are you doing the squat like every day? Being a 250-pound male, you're squatting every day, trying to get better at it. Well, it's probably not a good idea. You're not going to be able to recover very well, so that's not good. Or maybe you may be on the other side of the spectrum where you are like squatting once a week, or maybe once per 2 weeks, being a small female, for example. Well, you're not able to damage your body as much because the absolute loads that you're lifting are not really great, they're not substantial, so you can recover faster. So you may need to train, like squat 2 or 3 times a week. That may be applicable for you. So look at the frequency and frequency of your squatting per week. That's the other thing, the total volume that you're doing. On to the third point. When you're actually doing your sessions, say you're like squatting 2 to 3 times a week, for example, yeah, it's not bad, not bad frequency. But what's happening is that like every single session, like twice a week, you're going like 90% and over of your like 1 rep maximum, or you're trying to attempt like a 1 rep maximum every goddamn time, or you're just doing all the time like 5 by 5. The thing is, your training has to be periodized. You have to start with like lighter weights, gradually work up. Maybe one day of the week you go heavier, the other day you go lighter. So I would suggest looking into the intensities that you're working with. You don't want to train too heavy all the time, but you also don't want to train light as well too often, because if you train too light, then how are you going to get stronger, right? So you have to look at that as well. Okay, so after this, for example, say those things are managed, you're squatting 2 to 3 times a week, you're managing your loads, you're managing the intensity relative to the session, you're going heavier, lighter, and you're trying to increase your sets and reps slowly, not like dramatically right away. Great, you're on the right track. The next thing you should ask yourself, if you're not making progress, is like, are you sleeping enough? Like, are you this person who like smokes before the session, smokes after the session, and you work like a manual job, and you have family, and you're sleeping like 3 or 4 hours per night? Well, like, it's gonna be very hard to make progress like that. At least 8, 7 hours of sleep on consistent basis. So go to sleep at the same time, wake up at the same time. Your sleep should be good on consistent basis, on the average. And the other thing is like next factor, let's talk about in the next video. Last factor, are you eating enough? Are you in caloric surplus? If you're a skinny motherfucker dude who has like giraffe legs, I'm talking like very skinny, like skinny ass legs, and you want to squat a lot, well, fuck man, like, why are you strength training? Like, are you strength training to like be small like a stick, or like a like, the thing is, if you're a strength training, if you're serious, if you want to get stronger, you have to be in caloric surplus. Like, that's the best way to get stronger. For a while at the beginning, I understand when the goal is like recomposition, you don't want to up your calories too much. But if you are like skinny, like if you're underweight, for example, you definitely want to gain some weight. If you weigh like 130 pounds, fuck man, like, you gotta gain weight, you gotta eat. So get that protein in, 1 gram per pound of body weight, and get that caloric surplus. That's very important. I'm not saying that you can't gain strength on like maintenance calories or caloric caloric deficit, but the thing is it's just difficult, especially if you're stalling on some lift and you want to bring it up. You definitely would like to increase your calories. Calories are a fuel for your training, and that's how you get fucking stronger. You fucking eat like an animal and you train like an animal. And you sleep like an animal as well. That's really the best way to go about things. And what else is there to say? Okay, let's try to record this motherfucking shit one more time because it keeps deleting. Anyway, so say you're doing all of the things that I have mentioned, and you're like an intermediate lifter. You're like squatting 315, 365, and you can't go higher than that. But you're like doing squats. You're eating like an animal. You're sleeping like an animal. You're managing your stress levels like an animal, as in you're not being an animal. You're
getting laid like
you're trying to calm down. Yeah, you're like getting like laid as well, like to decrease your stress levels and all that shit. But you're still not progressing. What's up? What do you do?
More
Well,
sex.
this not more sex, that may cause more fatigue, and don't have more sex actually. Don't have sex before you train. That's a very good advice as well. If you do get laid before sex, if you're a dude, like fuck man, like you get like calm and chilled and relaxed. That's not the mindset you want to be when you're lifting big weights. So get laid like at the night, or yeah, that's a good strategy. My last point, I'm backtracked. Fuck. Anyway, look at the hypertrophy, the size of your relevant musculature. So say you're intermediate or beginner, but you're not squatting, like your squat is not going up, you're managing everything. Look at the size of the muscles that are moving the weights. So start doing isolation exercises. Start doing assistance, secondary exercises to bring up the relevant musculature to move as much weight as possible. Look at your legs. If they're like skinny giraffe legs or like skinny chicken legs, fuck man, start doing like lunges, do some Bulgarian split squats, do some leg extensions, some single leg pistol squats. Just bring up the